Now entering our relationship segment where our intimacy, trust, and vulnerability takes center stage. Tonight we explore the dilemmas that range from delicate matters of revealing life-changing truths through the unexpected sting of critique, even down to personal anatomy, to questions of how far we must go to accommodate our partner's insecurities. Here, every scenario is a minor reflection of the messy, beautiful reality of love and connection. All right, Lubby. So when your partner's expectations clash with your own values, this is kind of the theme for the night. Even in unexpected ways, how do you navigate that tension? Is it candid conversations, hard boundaries, or, rethinking, what your personal intimacy maybe means to you?
Well,
or is it a combination thereof?
I have never found anything so far that clashes with my morals, with my values that you do, so, but I mean, there are things that you do, like with your family, you're just so accepting. And that I thought I was accepting, that you have challenged me, to be more accepting, even when it was a little inconvenient for me.
No way, man.
Yeah. Totally was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is the hard part, right? Because people don't like conflict, generically speaking.
Mhm.
And people like conflict even less with the people they care about, so oftentimes we end up eating tension that maybe we should get out. Now, there's time to eat tension and there's time to not to, right? Some things aren't worth it and you just kind of eat it and let it go away. But other times you do that too much, too often on too many things. It builds up. And if you don't deal with that in some manner, shape, or form, and I guess the trick is knowing when to deal with them and when not to and how. And so that is the trick on a lot of these when you're dealing with conflicts. And when you're talking high moral values, as today's world is actually many people would consider might be stretching that for some people. You've got people in, shall I say, politically mixed marriages.
Yes.
They could be facing questions of that.
Yeah.
But my suggestion in that is to genuinely consider the other person's perspective, not what you want their other person's perspective to be, or not what you imagine their other perspective is. Because oftentimes we misjudge why other people think and behave and believe what they do. We go for something that's easy from our perspective rather than truth. Because it's easy to dismiss them then. I don't have to consider them because it's this bad thing. They're just bad human beings. I don't have to consider their actual perspective. So therefore, I don't have to
demonizing someone, yes, because of one viewpoint. So you're going to completely 86 them.
Even a whole string of viewpoints.
Yeah.
We live in a complex world and we have to deal with. Sometimes you're going to be on the side of society that's that's popular, and sometimes you're not. And you need to treat people how you want to be treated in that circumstance. If you're willing to treat everybody nicely all the time, regardless of their political positions, then you have the right to expect that in return.
Yes.
If you pick and choose when you behave nicely or when you do not, then everybody else has the same right to pick and choose when they behave nicely and when they don't. It's a simple equation. So you always behave nicely, and therefore you have the right to expect everybody else to always behave nicely. So anyway, we'll leave that at that.
Okay.
All right. What are we starting off with tonight?
How do I tell my best friend he's the father of my 4-year-old?
Oh, what a tangled web we weave on this one, isn't it?
You didn't look at these, did you?
No, I did look at this one, but I'd kind of forgotten about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they're 22, so this is the only excuse she has is she was young, scared, and didn't make the proper decision when she had the opportunity.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to go and ask him to excuse the unexcusable. Luckily, he's your best friend, and he likely will.
But be prepared for him to be upset for a while.
Yeah.
And maybe not want to talk to you.
Yeah, it may
for
take
a
him
little while.
It may take him some time. Now,
Yeah.
my guess is he'll come around relatively quickly. You know?
Yeah.
But you are going to have to fix this, and it's not going to be easy. No, but it will be best for everybody in the long run.
Yeah.
And you dang well better not be doing this for child support issues. It's one of those things. You made that decision a long time ago by not telling someone. That's one of those decisions you have to stick to once you make. Now, it's perfectly okay if for other, I just screwed up and now I got to tell them because it's the right thing to do. By all means. If all you want is a child support check out of it, and that's the only reason you're doing it, you eat that and you keep on going the way you've been going.
No, it's just that he's very attached to this child.
Yeah.
He helps out a lot. He does things with this little boy.
It's because it's the right thing to do. Then she just needs to sit him down and say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to need to ask you to forgive the unforgivable, and then tell him what you did. And let him work through his emotions. He'll forgive you. He's your best friend. He clearly loves the baby. Men are actually pretty good about knowing whose child they are, even if they don't realize it. He may already know, and he's just letting you live whatever you need to do. He may know already. And, it's what she wants to do. It's what men aren't smart that way. We're dumb sometimes. Because, he was 18 too. And he didn't figure it out until he's 19, 20 years old. And, now the path of least resistance is to let everything just keep rolling. Sleeping dogs lie. I can still be part of his life. It's cool. And so pull the Band-Aid off, ask him to forgive the unforgivable, and he will. I can almost guarantee it. Doesn't mean he's not going to have an emotion over it, but
he's going to have a feeling.
But the feeling may very well surprise you. It may not be as angry as you think.
Yeah.
I always felt something. The emotion may be relief. Who knows? But be prepared and let him work through his emotions, and don't put any extra pressure on him other than, I'm asking you to forgive the unforgivable. That's it. It's actually very powerful when you go in and ask somebody to do that. Because you're not acknowledging that this is something you probably shouldn't be forgiven for, but you're my best friend. I'm asking you to do it anyway. Yeah. Anyway, okay, what's next?
My girlfriend put porn on her phone while I was going down on her. Not sure how to feel about it. Okay, flip this, and she would have had a fit.
Well, not necessarily. Lots of people have porn on in the background while they're intimate. Lots of people like doing that while they, have other visual stimulation. Both people can have that kind of
OMG. I don't think so.
I'm just saying, it's not all that unusual. So, I don't know. Here's the thing. He's not sure how he feels about it. So he doesn't necessarily he didn't have a strong feeling. He's not sure. So there's part of him that doesn't mind. Part of him may even be turned on by it. But because she didn't bring it up first, he's confused.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Nothing wrong under the sun as long as everybody's enjoying it. And So,
And yeah, I just say flip this, and it would be a no-go.
well, I don't know. What if you're into role playing and that's part of the deal? I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, if you talk about it beforehand and you work it and you agreed on it, yeah. This is one of those things you gotta ask first, dude.
Well,
Because to me, that just signals, I'm sorry, you are just awful. I need something to push me over the edge because you ain't doing it.
yeah, but that may be her fault. You know, maybe she has overly complicated buttons, or she needs visual stimulation because she's one of those type of people.
All
Or
I'm
she's
saying,
overly
this
practiced.
is not a behavior you just drop in on.
I don't know, of all the kind of behaviors you can just drop in on, and this is low on the list of things I'd get overly worked up about personally, because there's a lot of other things on the list that would,
Huh.
just saying.
Okay.
On the whole list of things that someone can drop into you during this is pretty hard for me to get all overly worked up on that big long list of
I
things
do,
that
Chaz.
I'd get worked up over. So anyway, so there you go. You've got a couple different solutions. Best thing is figure out how you feel about it and go from there. And maybe ask her why. Maybe it's her thing, and then you can enjoy a thing together. Enjoy it as an actual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you turned it into a thing, then it's a thing. It's not just someone watching porn. It's part of their routine. It's part of their fantasy enrichment.
Mm-hmm.
Rather,
I'm all for that.
so
No worries.
yeah.
Done it myself. But the thing is, you don't just drop in on it.
And all I'm saying is that of all the things you could drop in on, that one's pretty light.
Okay. I hear you.
It's not like you took a 20-inch dildo and shoved it where the sun don't shine without mentioning anything.
I hear you. Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Is it abusive if my boyfriend poured my milk down the drain? I don't know what to please feel. Please help. Okay. He's made little comments before you drink milk. This kind of thing. But one day she's eating cereal, drinking milk, and what are you drinking? Milk. And he yells at her, stop drinking milk. And he takes everything and he pours it down the sink. She bought it. They just moved in together,
So what, is he some kind of vegan nut mite that has a thing about milk?
No, just that adults should not drink milk. He's one of those.
Oh, well, sadly, they just moved in together. So the solution here is to find a new boyfriend. He's not going to change that kind of thing. I don't know if I necessarily call it abusive, though it could be considered a red flag.
It's a definite red flag, man.
I mean, it could be his only thing. Maybe it's his only red flag, but it's a flag.
Sorry. Don't touch my milk that I flipping paid for. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Sit him down and talk to him. I drink milk, and you need to get over it.
It's the lack of emotional control that is the problem. The real problem. Now they're 24, so lack of emotional control in 24-year-olds is not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the actual big problem, not what they lost control over. It's the lack of emotional control. That's the concern.
Yeah.
Okay.
My partner wants me to get a nose job because he's worried his family will look down on us. How do I get across to him that I'm not okay with this?
Just tell him no. And there's nothing about a big nose that makes people look down on you. That's an insecurity your husband is carrying for some reason. And if you really want to deal with it, that's what you deal with. The nose job isn't going to change the way people think of you. If anything, it's going to negatively think, because why did you change your nose?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the change is a bigger issue than the nose itself. So this isn't about the nose. It's for whatever reason, he's thinking his family is going to look down on him, on her, because
makes her look a certain ethnicity.
So?
And it's a mixed marriage.
So?
And he's just very nervous.
Let him be nervous. He'll get over it. That's how you deal with it. You tell him to get over it. But you're going to have to get over it anyway. Changing the nose isn't going to change anything else.
No.
No.
What the heck?
No. But you may want to have a little compassion for him because clearly this family raised him weird. So even though he could have misinterpreted what they've been meaning, they could be perfectly nice and have no problem whatsoever. But he's a doofus and is, you never know. Lots of people get weird with that about families, and their families don't really have that problem. So fear is a strange thing.
It could be mine and get serious mixed messages.
Yeah. It could be half the family's fine and half the family's, not.
Yeah.
But you worry about the half that is, not the half that's not.
Yeah.
That's how you deal with these kind of things. All right. But no, you don't get a nose job. You're completely correct. And you tell your partner to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not going to change how your family's going to look at them anyway. So it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our 4-year-old walked in on us having sex.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Forgot to lock the door.
Don't worry about it.
He's asking questions.
You do what you're very good at doing at this stage, evading them. You just don't answer. If he was a little older, you could tell them you were wrestling, but at 4-year-olds, they don't know what that means. So just evade the question. Because they're not old enough to understand it anyway. So even if you answer the question completely honestly, they're still going to go, what does that mean? And so then you're going off into things that they're not. So evade the question. It's none of your business. Give them a lollipop or whatever, a popsicle, and send them on their way. That's when candy and games come in handy to distract them. Yeah.
Too young.
Yeah, and they'll move on.
And
quickly.
remember to lock the door next time.
Yeah, they'll move on quickly. Don't worry so much about it. Yeah. Okay.
Girlfriend shamed my testicles and called them gross. Now she's upset that I'm feeling self-conscious about being naked.
Well, balls are kind of gross, frankly.
And I'm sorry, she gets her woman card taken away, okay? Because you're not allowed to say that to men.
No, we can say it to each other because we know they look gross, but we don't need the person who we're getting naked in front of to tell us that.
We don't. That's not just a nice thing to say because things like this happen.
They look like bleached, shriveled prunes. They're not the most attractive thing on the planet.
I mean, y'all have your own ideas about your anatomy, so why should I shatter your perception?
You're not shattering the perception. We just don't need you to say it.
Exactly.
We know.
Exactly.
We know what it does.
That's just being mean, man. That's just being mean.
I mean, well, let's put it this way. What would you have done if he had done it the reverse? And said your private area looks like an Arby's sandwich. I mean, would you have taken that kindly? I suspect not. Unless you're a jokester couple and you guys kind of, do that kind of thing. There are some people who would be fine with that. But rule of thumb is you don't say that, even though they all kind of look like that, at least to some extent. Am I lying?
You're not allowed to say. We're not allowed to say. I'm sorry.
We're just.
I plead the fifth. But yours is wonderful, darling. I love yours.
Yeah. No. It looks like bleached walnuts. There's nothing to like down there. Okay. So what's next?
Okay, we got our last question of the night.
Okay.
Does drinking tons of water make climax feel better?
Well, being properly hydrated will make any physical activity feel better, frankly. And just, lots of us go through life slightly dehydrated because we don't drink enough fluids. So if you are someone who runs slightly dehydrated and you're hydrated one night and then you engage in robust activities, adult activities, yeah, you probably will have a better evening than you would have if you hadn't been properly hydrated. I have no evidence to back that up other than logic of human anatomy.
No, it's been a long time, but I remember we reviewed this gentleman when he wanted to do a shout out to drinking more water for just this reason. I remember that rings a bell. I remember that. So that's two people we have gotten this from.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, generally speaking, you feel better if you have plenty of fluids.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense. There's some logic to it. Have I read any studies or seen? No, but there's some logic to it. And hey, it never hurts to be properly hydrated.
There you go.
It can't hurt.
Absolutely.
You know, it can hurt to be overly hydrated, but it takes a lot. Yeah. So, all right. So as we close tonight's relationship segment, let the insights. Oh, oof. Okay. Let's try this one again. As we close tonight's relationship segment, let the insights spark deeper reflection on how we manage vulnerabilities and negotiate our personal truths. Each dilemma shared and highlights that every relationship is an evolving dialogue, a dance between compromise and self-respect. Thank you for joining us through these intricate and soul-searching conversations. From me and Lubby, have a good night. Have a good. Have a good night, and please remember to love everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night. Good night.
Good.
I can't even say that on purpose.